May the 8th, 1945, victorious Allied commanders arrive at Berlin's Tempelhof airport. The official Nazi capitulation is signed at this former military barracks in East Berlin, captured by Soviet forces. War in Europe is over. The site is preserved, sponsored by an association of German, Russian, Ukrainian and Belarusian historians, and known as the German-Russian Museum, until now. Following Russia's invasion of Ukraine last week, the director decided to fly only the Ukrainian flag at the front of the museum. The German-Russian Museum name plaque has been obscured.
Normally, we display all four flags, Germany, Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus. We see it as an important symbol that we sympathize with Ukraine. Ukraine is the victim here. She was attacked. That's the only point to make. So today, we raised only one flag.
The dispute goes far deeper. In World War II, Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union. Nazi atrocities against the Soviets are well documented. Many of those crimes took place on what is now Ukrainian soil. The site of the Nazi capitulation became the German-Russian Museum in 1994, after the fall of the Soviet Union. 2 decades later, Russia invaded Ukraine, annexing Crimea, and the museum found itself at the center of a dispute over its name.
Our Ukrainian colleagues have difficulties working in a museum called the German-Russian Museum. From the German point of view, it was sufficient for quite some time to say, we have a museum with Russia, but it's a bit inaccurate. Russia was taken to mean the whole of the Soviet Union. For a long time, that didn't bother anyone. For the Germans, it's very important to have a museum together with our former enemies in war. But we've learned now that it's important to distinguish between Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus.
On the eve of launching his latest invasion, Russia's president said it was aimed at the denazification of Ukraine. Russia has repeatedly compared Ukraine's government to the Nazis and accused them of committing genocide. Ukraine has strongly rejected such claims and points out that its president, Volodymyr Zelensky, is Jewish and has a grandfather who fought against the Nazis. Museum director Jörg Moray is outraged by Putin's language.
This is a misrepresentation, a corruption of history that I would have never expected. Perhaps we have indeed learned nothing from history.
It is a history that is still contested. Germany and Europe believed war was a part of history never to be repeated, to be remembered in museums like this. But as conflict returns to Europe, Russia is invoking the language of 20th century conflicts as its tanks roll into Ukraine. Henry Ridgwell for VOA News, Berlin.